Gentlemen, they've got Galentine. No, we ain't doing Galentine. We're not doing it. Sorry. We ain't doing that. So we do have a special event for men coming up in February. You'll hear more about that. Very excited about that. It's going to be a great time to come together, and so we're going to do stuff with steak. So it's going to be a guy night with steak, and so be looking for that coming up. As always, lots of stuff going on in the church. Hey, if our winter family is here, and we're so glad that you are here, and we just want to remind you, this is your church. So like some people say, well, do you do something special for your winter guests? It's like, no, Mom and Dad don't do anything special when I come home. Well, they do. They got this list, and it's like, can you do this, right? We just want you to be part of the church. You're part of the church. Just jump in, join in. Grab our brochure. There's lots of great things going on. Jump in the Bible studies. Jump in the worship teams and the choirs. If you like volunteering with kids, the youth, jump in. We are your church, and we want you to be at home here. Speaking of church, our goal as a church really is to help you live your best life. It really is. I mean, we like to say around here that life with Jesus is best. And I just believe that. Life with Jesus is just absolutely best. And we want you to live that and to receive that and to live into that. And if we're honest about that, sometimes life doesn't seem best, does it? I mean, it's New Year's, right? It's time you evaluate your life. It's time you kind of look at your list and see what happened last year, what you want to happen this year. And when you measure your happiness factor, your peace factor, your deep friendship factor, maybe even your purpose factor, am I living on purpose for a purpose that's bigger than myself? All those things are what it means to live your best life, right? If we're going to be honest, even as followers of Jesus, at least I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes I struggle in those things. Sometimes I work real hard to try to get that. Now, that doesn't mean that what we believe is not true, because the Scripture tells us it's true, that life with Jesus is absolutely best, and that's what we're moving towards. And if you're like me, you've probably experienced that at times, right? There's been times where it's just like life with Jesus is just absolutely best. It's just like, yes, it's just like, I'm so glad I'm a follower of Jesus, and it's just going awesome and great, and it's like, yes. And then there's other times where it's like, where are you? We know you're here, right now, but we're not, our life doesn't sense, doesn't feel, doesn't seem, well, best. But what if you could make one decision this year, just one decision this year, and change everything? If you could make one decision this year and take a huge, gigantic step forward into that best life ever. Just one simple decision. Sounds like it's too good to be true, right? Sounds like I ought to be on an infomercial. Sounds like something crazy. But it is true. If you're a follower of Jesus, there's one decision that you can make that will change everything for you. And if you're not a follower of Jesus, I think if you make this decision, you'll soon become a follower of Jesus. Now, it's a pretty big promise to make, and quite frankly, I'm not making that promise. Jesus actually makes that promise. Listen to what Jesus says as he's meeting with two friends of his, Mary and Martha. Some of you are very familiar with this story, but sometimes I think we miss what Jesus is saying here. Jesus has been traveling around, and he heads over to Mary and Martha's home because he's just going to kick back and rest a little bit. See, they were good friends, and Luke records this story for us. Now, remember that the Gospel of Luke is written by a dude named Luke, and he got his information by interviewing people. That's what the Gospel of Luke tells us. Luke chapter 1, he says that he's interviewed people. So he probably talked to Mary and or Martha to get this story straight. And here's exactly what they told him. They said one day, Jesus and his disciples were on their way. They were traveling around, and they came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary and Martha, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted, right, by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him, that is to Jesus, and here's what she asked. She said, Lord, don't you care that my sister is a lazy bum, right? She's left me to do all the work by myself. Tell her to quit slacking off and what? Help me. Now listen to what Jesus says. Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried about many things and upset about many things. But there but few things are needed. Here it is, or indeed only one. Only one thing is needed. One decision is all that you need to make to change everything. And here's what Jesus said. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. So what did Mary choose? What did Mary do that Martha did not do? What was the choice that Mary made that Martha didn't? And see, the choice wasn't about how much do you love Jesus, how much do you follow Jesus, how much do you believe in Jesus, how much do you know this to be true about Jesus. It wasn't any of those choices, right? The choice that Mary made that Martha didn't make was simply this. Mary chose to unhurry. She decided to unhurry. John Ortberg, some of you know of John Ortberg. He's written many books, pastor from California. He asked his spiritual mentor, a man named Dallas Willard, who is a modern-day theologian, he passed away about 2 years ago. He asked Dallas Willard, he says, what do I need to do to become the me that I want to be? What one thing do I need to do? And here's what he said. Here's what Dallas Willard said. You must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. Ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. Think about it. What is Satan's number one tool that he is using to destroy our world today? We can make a list, right? We can make a list. You could say it's the woke culture. You could say it's social media. You could say it's the corrupt government. You could say it's corrupt churches. You could say whatever you want to say. But here's what Corrie ten Boom said. And some of you know who Corrie ten Boom is. She was a Christian during during World War II when the Nazis were trying to exterminate Jewish people. And her family actually hid Jews in their home until they were caught. And then she was incarcerated in a concentration camp. She survived that and later would go on to write and to tell people about Jesus a lot. Here's what she said. The number one enemy of our souls today, the number one tool Satan uses, she could have said a lot of things, but here's what she said. If the devil can't make you sin, he will make you what? What's that word? Some of you didn't even want to read that, did you? You were too busy to read the word. Busy. Corrie ten Boom. Not Adolf Hitler, not Nazism, not the government, not the system. Busyness. Carl Jung said this, hurry is not of the devil, it is the devil. And think about this. Hurry, right? Hurry involves excessive haste and a state of urgency. I've just got to get it done. I got to go. I got to do this. I never can be settled. I never can be in the moment. I've just got to go, go, go. Life is just always on the run, right? Think about the words we associate with hurry, right? They kind of sound like hurry. This world, hurl. That's a fun word, isn't it, right? That's a New Year's Eve word, or that's a New Year's Day word. Anyway, don't go there, right? Hurl, right? That's word. Here's another one, hurdle. Something I've got to overcome, got to get past. Got to do it in a hurry. Here's one for us on the Gulf Coast, hurricane. Some of our winter family says, we out of here before that happens, right? Because it all brings destruction. Hurry is a state of frantic effort that one falls into in response to inadequacy, fear, or guilt. Could it be, Martha, the decision that Mary made was to not be in a hurry. And Martha, you are in a hurry because you're in a frantic state. Because you feel so inadequate. You feel so fearful. You feel so guilty that you're trying to please Jesus instead of just being with Jesus. Here's another one. Hurry is just when you have too much to do that the only way you can do it is that you can do it in a hurry. So Mary and Martha, Jesus says to Martha, there's one thing that you could do. Mary has done one thing differently than you have done. And here's what it is. She's decided to unhurry. Dallas Willard said, if you want to become the person who God created you to be, you must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. Good luck, right? Our culture today does not let us unhurry, does it? In fact, our culture today is wrapped around busyness and events and happenings and making all these things happen. In fact, if your calendar isn't full, there's something wrong with you. And in fact, when people call you up and say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? What you been up to? You go, oh, I've just been what? Yeah, you don't even want to say it, do you? Busy. Just busy. Busy doing what? Oh, you know, same old. But we're busy. We're just so busy. It's almost like we're afraid of boredom. In fact, if you're boredom, you're just boring and you're not worth being around. In fact, my son took his family up to see my parents for Christmas, and it's about a 9-hour drive with a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. God bless them. And I said, I asked Campbell, our 3-year-old. I said, what did you do on the trip? She said, watched movies. You know, and I hearken back to, I'm feeling like the old man, get off my yard. When we would travel with Mom and Dad on vacation back for Christmas, we would play games in the car, read books. I tied my sister's hair in a knot. I don't know, it's what you did, right? Because as a parent, the last thing you want is your child to be bored. And isn't that horrible? When we take away boredom, we take away space for creativity. We take away space for learning. We take away space for investigation. We take away time to be creative. We don't have any of those things if we're so what? Busy. In fact, we don't have time to really know who we are. Because we are what? So busy. You see, we have this fear that we're going to miss out, right? You all know what that is, FOMO, fear of missing out. Did you know that FOMO turns 20 this year, 2024? FOMO was a term that was created in 2004 with the advent of social media. Do you realize that college freshmen do not know a world where social media did not exist, right? Isn't that crazy? And social media built this in, that we have this fear of missing out, that there's all this good stuff going out in this world, and we're going to miss out on it. So we just got to do more, be more, get there because we don't want to miss out, right? And so this FOMO, they say, was born in 2004 with social media. I don't agree with that. I think FOMO was born earlier than that, out of this thing called hurry sickness. Did you know hurry sickness is actual diagnosis? It's an actual diagnosis, and a cardiologist named Dr. Friedman actually did studies about this. And here's what he said. He said, hurry sickness is a continuous struggle and unremitting attempt to accomplish or achieve more and more things or participate in more and more events in less and less time. And he did this study, and in his study, he proved that people with hurry sickness were more susceptible to heart attacks than people without it. He did this study in 1950. I wonder what Dr. Friedman would say today. If you could make one decision that would change your life, not just in 2024, but would one decision, and not just make a decision, but would make a practice of it, if you could eliminate hurry out of your life, what would it look like? Jesus said to Martha, Mary has chosen something, and it will not be taken away from her. She's chosen what is better. She has chosen to unhurry. So my question is, do you think Martha had this hurry sickness? Well, here's 10 legitimate symptoms of hurry sickness. Now, you remember, Martha comes to Jesus, and what is Martha? Martha's irritable. Jesus, right? She's hypersensitive. You just love Mary more than me, right? She's restless. She can't sit still. She's full of workaholism. Always doing, always being, always got to be busy. A sense of emotional numbness. Oh, but there's more. Out of order priorities. The God of all creation was with them right in the living room. And she believed that. She loved him. She knew that. And what was she doing? Staying away from him for that. Some more symptoms of hurry sickness. Escapist behavior, lack of care for your body, just don't have time. Slippage in spiritual disciplines. And isolation, feeling disconnected. You think Martha felt pretty disconnected? Anybody out there have hurry sickness? Here's two other tests. Here's two other tests of hurry sickness. The checkout. You know, when you go into the store, whatever store you shop in, and before you push your buggy, I know you're all looking guilty. Before you push your buggy up to the cart, you're scanning, right? Which one's the fastest aisle? Which one's the fastest aisle? You're counting how many items are in a cart in front of you, because that's got one cart, but it's got 18 items. That's got one cart, but it's got 38 items, and there's two, right? Right. And then when you get in the shortest line and the person is checking out, and all of a sudden their self-scanning checkout kind of glitches and you see the red light go on, what do? You're like, oh, that's the worst, right? Anybody out there with hurry sickness? Test number 2, the toll bridge. God help me. All right. So I worked on this sermon New Year's Day. I came up here. I was working up here, and I live across the toll bridge. And so pet peeve, honest pet peeve of Jim Kinder. So I have the Freedom Pass, like a lot of us down here do. When you go through the toll bridge, it says Freedom Pass. That means you have to have the Freedom Pass to go through there. So I'm scanning license and everything, and I got the Freedom Pass, and I see the car in front of me has got an Alabama plate, so I'm going, okay, this is probably good. Pull up, I'm behind him, and next thing you know, that car's just sitting there. And that attendant is doing exactly what I'd do if I was an attendant there. I'm going to let you sit there and learn your lesson, buddy. You ain't got a Freedom Pass. You can't go through, right? And I'm sitting there going, come on. And then I just started laughing. I thought, God, you are such a humorous person. You've got such a sense of humor. It's hurry sickness. Now, there's a difference. There's a difference between being busy and being in a hurry. Being busy is about all the things you have to do in life. And there are good things that we're busy about. There are purposes that we need to be about. We work hard at our professions, and we want to give our lives to things that matter. And we should be busy. But see, hurry is different. Hurry is more than just a full calendar, although a full calendar can be a symptom of being so hurried. But being busy does not necessarily mean you've got this hurry sickness. See, hurry is the spiritual, mental, and emotional state that you're in when you're doing all these things, and you have this sense of, I have to do these things to please this person or to be acceptable to these people or to prove my value and worth. And what's happening in our world today is busy and hurry have gotten so intertwined that we can't tell them apart. And we just go, and we just don't have time to ever just stop. You see, this ideal of hurriedness, where it's different than just being busy, is hurriedness. It's like the strong winds that blows on the waters of our hearts, stirring up a huge wave that tells you, you are not enough. And so you just got to keep producing. You got to keep making money. You got to keep making decisions. You got to keep your kids busy, because I'm not a good mama. I'm not a good daddy. I'm not a good grandparent if we just don't have stuff that we do all the time. See? Hurried and busy are different. They're related, but they're different. And here's the thing that just really wrecked me. And I'm reading a book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer, and I would recommend that to you. And I'm using that to help me through this series. But here's what John Mark Comer says. Hurry is a form of violence to the soul. And I'm thinking about all this stuff. And a couple of days ago, I was up with a friend and doing a little deer hunting. I was up in my stand watching one squirrel. That's about all I saw, one squirrel. And so I thought, this is a perfect time to practice. And I just was going to be still before God. I'm out in creation. I mean, He is here, right now. I'm really trying to focus on that. And God is with us. And after about half a minute, I'm thinking, I got work to do. And I'm working. I put it back up, and then I'm bored. So now I'm playing, right? Getting really good at spider solitaire. Why can't we just stop? What is it about the silence? What is it about just taking time to reflect and know who I really am? What's really happening in my soul? You see, and if I can't take the time to be silent with God, just me and God, and know who it is that I am and what's really going on inside of my heart, not what the world tells me, not what somebody else tells me, but just listening to what my Heavenly Father speaks to me and the truths that He is telling me and leading me in and wrestling with where I am really in my life. If I can't take the time to just slow down and do that, how can I ever experience the full love of God if I don't even know who I fully am? I mean, God's full love is still coming for me, but I don't even know how to fully receive it because I don't even know who I fully am. Much less, how do I love the people in my life? How do I really give myself to them when I don't even fully know what's happening inside? See, that's what hurry does to you. Mary chose to do what? To just sit and be with Jesus, to bring all of herself to Jesus and just be there in the moment. Martha could not do it. She could not bring herself to sit down and just do it. And people say, yeah, and you've probably, if you've been around church, you've heard this sermon before. And they talk about the Mary personality and the Martha personality. People have written books on that and made gajillions, right? Or books about the Martha type and the Mary types. And that's wonderful. And yeah, we all have different personality types. But Jesus does not say Mary's got a better personality. Jesus said Mary chose, right? Jesus said, Mary made a choice, Martha, that you are fully capable of making. Jesus didn't say, stinks to be you, Martha. You kind of got the short end of the stick when I was handing out personality up there, you know. No. He said, Mary made a choice to what? To unhurry. To unhurry. And so, the challenge for us is how do we live in this world and how do we unhurry? And it's hard. It's hard when our whole world tells us that if you're not going, if you're not doing, if you don't have a full calendar, if somebody calls you up and says, hey, do you have time to do this? You have to say what? Let me check my calendar because I am so important. Because my calendar is so full that I got to try to squeeze you in. And the church doesn't help this at all. In fact, I wonder sometimes if the church hasn't bought into the world's motto of more is better. I was talking to a friend of mine. Called him up. He doesn't live around here, but he said, I said, what you do this weekend? He said, man, I was at 4 church services. I heard 4 sermons this weekend. 4 sermons. I said, really? He said, yeah, yours was one of them, right? I watched you online. I said, great. I said, where'd I rank? And not that I'm competitive, but he said, well, yours is pretty good. Yours is pretty good. And then I asked him this. I said, so what was your takeaway from each sermon? He said, well, the last one I heard, it was pretty good. I think he said something about, I don't even remember what he said, but he said that after a long pause. What good is listening to the 4 sermons if you didn't take anything with you? What good is it if you didn't get a thought about God and about you and about your relationship to Him and to this world and your relationship to others, and you don't take it and chew on it and wrestle with it and take it and live in it in years? I've talked to people who've bragged, I'm doing 5 Bible studies. Great. Do you have time to eat? But more is better. No, more is not better. I would much rather you do one Bible study and really sink your teeth into it and say, God, what do you have for me here? What are you trying to teach me here? What are you doing in my soul here? Help me to know this. That's why as a church, we have a philosophy when it comes to ministry. In fact, if you'll do Starting Point, Carol will teach this. It's called worship plus 2. And here's what baseline for spiritual growth in your connection to the church. In your connection to the church, not your personal discipleship, in your connection to the church. Here it is. We think you should worship weekly. We encourage you to serve regularly. Find a place of service and do it regularly, whether it's once a week, once a month, every 2 weeks, whatever it is. Just get in a rotation and just serve, because as we give our life away, that's what God calls us to do. And then be part of a small group consistently. Again, is that once a week? Is that once every 2 weeks? I don't know. But find it, be in it consistently in a small group where they talk about the Bible and they talk about real life and what's going on in their world. Can I do more? Yeah, you can, but this is the baseline, and more is not better. You see? We've bought into that. And so, the challenge for us then is, how do we unhurry? And it would be great. It would be great if I think that this one message is going to change your world and you're going to walk away going, I'm going to unhurry. 2024 is unhurried year. Right. I'm good. I ain't that good. Thank you for laughing at that. I need it. I need that. That's good. Thank you, John. This is something we're going to wrestle with for a few weeks, because this is deeply ingrained in our culture and in who we are. And yet, as Jesus told Martha, you can make the one choice that Mary made, and it's better. It will not be taken away from her. So we're going to continue with this theme and this series for a few weeks. And next week, we're going to wrestle with this verse where Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest in your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And I am excited about next week's message, because I think this is going to be a whole new concept to many of you, because it was to me as I began to study this and think about what life with Jesus meant. But and then after that, for the next 4 weeks after that, we're going to go into some real practical things that you can do, and challenge you each week to do these things to help you begin to unhurry and to be with Jesus. And so we're going to start that this week. Our challenge for you this week is to just simply follow Psalm 46:10. Here it is. Be still and know that I am God. That's going to be a challenge. And so what that's going to look like, I just want to challenge you this week to take time. You can do it every day. You can just do it once. But somewhere this week, just go be with God. No phones, no watches because they tell you what's on your phone, no TVs, no screens, no music. Just go be with Jesus. And the challenge is, see how long you can do it. See how long you can stay there without like going crazy, picking up your phone, having to go back in, wondering about who's checking on what or whatever it might be. And I know all of us are at different stages in life, but the challenge is real for us. Be still and know that I am God. And so this week, that's my prayer for you, is that you will take moments to unhurry and just go be with God. Let's pray. Father God, in this crazy, busy world that we live in, we see where Mary made the good choice. And God, we want to make that choice, but we're so busy. Help us this week, God, to slow down and to focus on you, to know the reality of your presence and your goodness, and just to be still and know that you're God. Help us to unhurry. We pray this in Christ's name, and everyone said,
Amen. Thank you, Jim. Y'all ready for sermon number 2? What, y'all in a hurry or something? What's going on? We were talking about this Sunday. We were talking about this sermon series, and we actually thought Jim's going to get up here and preach about being in a hurry and being still. We thought it would be powerful if we actually put that into practice here and now. Because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. After Jim preaches, whatever's next. I got to get in my car. I got to get home. I got to get to brunch, whatever it is. I got to go to the next thing. And we're kind of all in that spot right now. And so we're going to take that moment, that challenge to be still. And that's a hard challenge. I was, especially, as Jim said, we're all in different parts of, different moments of our life. It's hard. They're like, well, who's going to get up here and talk about being still? Who's the busiest person we know? Who's got 4 kids, all under the age of 9? Oh, this guy. So they picked me. Being still is hard. And I love what Jim said about the difference between being busy and being in a hurry. Busy is, there's things you have to do, right? But there are things in our life that our life is full of things that we feel like we have to do in order to feel like we're enough. And I feel that pressure as a parent every single day, that I have to do this for my kids. I have to do this. I have to put this on the calendar. I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this in order to be perceived as a good parent. And I know that there's a lot of parents in this room who feel that. There's a lot of grandparents, aunts and uncles. You know what I'm talking about. I remember something, not that I would ever want to go back to it, but I remember during COVID, during the lockdowns, how many people told me, whenever we were all forced to stop, how many people said how much they actually loved that because it was healthy for their soul. It forced them to slow down. And I love that hurry is a choice. We don't have to be forced by the government to stop, y'all. We can do it ourselves. We can choose not to be in a hurry. And there's a song that I think that really sends us home. It's called Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus. And there's these things of earth. As we turn our eyes upon Jesus, the things of earth slowly fade away. And we realize it's all about him. Let's stop, be still, and note and just see him present right here, right now. So let's all stand. We're going to sing this chorus of Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, and then we'll be dismissed. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Go in peace. Be still this week and know that he is God and that he is good. Go in peace.